Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my unit review on Grace. And Grace is a brand new unique shadow healer, and she's unique in the sense that she doesn't really heal. You know, traditional healers usually have some sort of healing skills to top players off. Grace doesn't do that. Instead, she mitigates damage with shields, and shields are something that we don't see very often on characters. Grace's skill 1 is what applies the shield for the team. It costs 5,916 SP, and it has two effects. If she is below 40% HP, then all it does is increase the entire team's defense by 30% for 15 seconds. Now, if she is equal or above 40%, then it will reduce Grace's HP to 30% of her max HP, and the amount being reduced is then turned into a life shield for everybody on the team, and you can tell how much life shield you have by taking a look at the buff icons at the very bottom. This life shield does have a cap, and it should cap out at whatever the amount is equal to, I believe, 70% of Grace's max HP. Now, this shield does have pretty interesting properties to it. Using skill 1 multiple times while already having a life shield doesn't replace the shield, instead it adds onto it. So for example, if you have a 1000 life shield on you and Grace activates skill 1, and let's say skill 1 is supposed to add 1500 life shields, then you add 1500 to your already existing 1000 and you'll have a total of 2500 life shields, assuming that number doesn't exceed the cap. The other interesting thing about this shield is that it has affliction guard, meaning that any attack that deals any sort of affliction such as burn, stun, paralysis won't get applied as long as the attack doesn't break the shield. That right there is probably the biggest deal about Grace's kit, is the fact that her shield protects players from afflictions. The two high dragons where healers are usually ran in are High Midgard and High Brunhilde. Midgard afflicts stun while Brunhilde afflicts burn, so Grace can definitely be used in either fight, and she'll make it easier for players to run non-meta characters. Skill 2 costs 8,534 SP, and it increases the entire team's defense by a big whopping 100% defense for 5 seconds. Now, this is an extremely fat defense buff, but it doesn't last very long. The main use for this is to give Grace chocolatiers for that 100% skill prep. That way she can use skill 2 and skill 1 before High Dragon's initial blast, and that should be enough to let anybody get past the blast safely, even off element characters. Of course, additionally, in a High Dragon fight, you can save the skill 2 to mitigate damage from big attacks such as red circle stacks and purple chasers as well, so learning attack patterns is going to be important if you want to use Grace. It's also important to learn attack patterns because at the same time, you shouldn't really hold onto skill 2 just for those crucial moments, because you want to use it off cooldown whenever you can so that defense buff can activate healing double buff, which is one of Grace's abilities. That healing double buff ability is like the only way Grace can self-heal. It's very important that Grace can get healed back up to full quickly so that she can continuously pump out that life shield for everybody on team with her skill 1. If you can get her a 6-star 1 staff from Cayenne, then that would be ideal, because the attack speed and defense buff from that weapon skill is extremely useful for her. Attack speed obviously speeds up SP gain so she can fill up her SP gauges faster, and then the defense buff gives Grace another way to activate healing double buff. With it, she'll have 3 sources in total. When she's below 40%, her skill 1 grants the defense buff, her skill 2 obviously does, and then the 6-star 1 weapon skill will be the 3rd source. Make sure to activate those 3 skills often to self-heal back to above 40% so you can start stacking and replenishing everyone's life shields. If you can use both her skills effectively, then your run should be fairly safe, and she can survive some weird situations like surviving hellfires, dive bombs, 8 ways, tridents, you name it. Her co-abilities, she has Force Strike 20% and Shadow HP below 40 equals shields. Force Strike 20% looks good, but I don't think it's all that great. 20% is very small, and I do not think it's worth a slot even for sword characters. Now, her chain co-ability I haven't really used at all, so I can't say much from personal experience. Regardless, I think it's just okay. The shield isn't big enough to protect the user from any big attacks, only small ones, so it could be useful for certain situations like in mHBH to protect Grace from volcanoes or something. I guess that also applies to other M&D type characters like Belina and Aldred. She has Mournful Heart, Blind Res, and Healing Double Buff for her abilities. Mournful Heart is interesting. She has this unique Force Strike animation which takes forever to cast. It's like about 3 times longer than the regular wand Force Strike. It has increased Force Strike damage by 30%, a dispelling effect, and it also has lifesteal. Personally, from using Grace, I think you should only use this 4-strike for dispelling. It does not heal much at all. With my fully decked out Grace, the 4-strike only heals for about 200. If you wanted to self-heal, it would be much better to just spam C5 and activate her defense buffs. It's a good ability though nonetheless, since it's a dispelling effect with no difficult conditions attached to it. It's very useful for dispelling the passive defense buffs that Masters High Dragons get. This makes her a bit better to use than the normal healers you usually see in Masters HMS and mHBH. Healing double buff I've already talked about a little bit ago. This ability is enabled by defense buffs and it's the only way Grace can heal herself. You can stack this with a healing double buff print such as the Valentine's Maid print or Odd Sparrows, and that will allow Grace to heal even faster. By the way, recovery potency does affect the heal from healing double buff. I tested the Maid print out and it heals about 200 more than Odd Sparrows. If you don't have the Maid print because it's limited, then just run Odd Sparrows, is not that big of a deal. One of those two prints with Chocolatiers is good for High Dragons. If you are using her in content where Chocolatiers isn't needed, then just use Study Rabbits instead. I wouldn't run Study Rabbits over Odd Sparrows or the Maid print because first of all, she doesn't really need fatter shields, and 2, I think it's really important that Grace is given abilities that will help her heal back to full quicker. That way she can replenish those life shields much faster. With Study Rabbits instead of a healing double buff print, she regens HP really slow, but depending on the content it might not even matter. Anyways, overall Grace is probably one of the best healers in the game now. She may not be able to heal, but her shields are so fat that it makes runs so safe. The shields can go up to like 3,500 and it can protect players when they do make mistakes. She can replace John Zia in mHBH and Lowens in HMS. She brings much more value than those two healers because she can dispel and the life shields have Affliction Guard. And do note that Grace can even run Popstar Siren or a Bog Water Dragon if extra HP isn't needed and it won't affect her run, so don't make that argument. Outside of those two Dragon Trials, she doesn't really have much use besides using her in auto teams for like Expert Cayenne or something. Ironically, all the light content doesn't require Shadow Healer to clear. It's actually considered unoptimal to run a Shadow Healer in all the light content currently, which is kind of funny. She's also great for Mercurial Gauntlet. I posted on Twitter the other day a screenshot of my Shadow team consisting of Gala Alex, Gala Cleo, Delphi, and Grace, beating all the Mercurial Gauntlet levels with plenty of time left. She's absolutely bonkers and tons of fun to play for a healer. Whether or not you want to pull for her is up to you. I don't think she's a must pull, but yeah, regardless, she's still a very, very good character. And that's my review on Grace. Remember guys that there's a Fire Emblem Heroes collab at the end of the month, so make sure that you save a lot of summons for that. It's definitely gonna have some really good stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
シンシアプレイヤーレクイエム・フォー・ソロ募る憎しみでやっこれでやっこれでさよならやっさよならどうこれでこれで集まろうレクイエム・フォー・ソロやっどうこれでシンシアプレイヤー募る憎しみやこれでや募る憎しみでお別れこれでさよならさよならやさよならどうやどうこれでさよならやどうさよならこれでさよならどうやどうさよならこれで食材どうこれでこれでやどうレクイエム・フォー・ソロどうこれでどうさよならやこれで シアプレイヤーどうこれでレクイエム・フォー・ソロ募る憎しみでこれでさよならはっやどうこれで憎しみではっこれでさよならはっこれでさよならやこれでさよならお別れどうこれでさよなら募る憎しみでやはっシンシアプレイヤーやレクイエム・フォー・ソロはっこれではっやこれで募る憎しみでどうこれでさよならやどう
ちょっと休憩。優しいのね。ちょっと休憩。
食材生きていることが嬉しいなんて